Okay. Okay, I think we are recording. So everyone, thank you for showing up again today. We are going to be looking at Moxi Present, which is our new CMA platform. So we are all used to Toolkit, which we had for many years, but this is sort of a more upgraded version of Toolkit, which is why our company has switched to this. Has a lot more bells and whistles, and it allows for digital copies of presentations to be made, so you can share those live either with your sellers or your buyers via the internet. So that's kind of a great option that will help us all out right now, where we still might have to be doing some remote listing presentations. It's something you can very easily share with them. You can both look at it live and discuss it over the phone or via Zoom or something like that. And then the buyer's tour works the same way, where you send them a link to a live online buyer's presentation. They can access it from their phone and interact with it in real time as you guys are showing them properties. So I'm going to show you the basics of both of those two types of presentations today. And then obviously I'll open up the floor for questions, and maybe if we have time, we'll go over some of the more kind of like detailed pieces to Moxi. But in order to get started, just like with anything else, you guys are going to want to go to your ACE dashboard, which is where I am here. And in order to find Moxi Present, it is here under the pink promotion tab. However, if you do not remember that in the moment, you can use this search bar right here. You would just type the word Moxi, make sure it doesn't change it to Maxi on you, hit search, and it will come up right here. And as you can see, it's telling me that it's under the promotion tab. So I'm gonna just go ahead and I would click that to sign in. Okay, so when you first sign into Moxi, you're going to be here, which is your presentations, my presentations, sort of a dashboard type area. So everything that you've created will be here. Okay, if you start to get too many here, you want to get rid of some of them, you do have the option to archive them, and then they would show up here under archived. Okay, but for now, they would all be here when you log in. And what we want to do is actually start by creating a new one. So in that case, we're going to go to the upper right-hand corner over here. There's a blue button that says Create New. So very simple. We click on that. And now it's going to ask you, what type do you want? Okay. So there is the regular seller, which is what you would use for a listing presentation, right? It says right here, it's the traditional CMA. Okay, and then it gets a little confusing because they do have buyer and buyer tour, but for the most part, what you guys are going to be doing and what we're going to talk about today is the buyer tour. So this is the one where you can put multiple listings in that you're going to be showing your clients, and they will have everything right there at their fingertips while you're driving around with them. The buyer, first one up here, buyer presentation, is if you want to do basically a quick CMA on one property that your clients are interested in purchasing, and you want to be able to give them a good feel for, you know, what should they be offering, is the asking price a good price, that kind of a thing. So that's what this one is. But today we're going to we're going to concentrate rather on seller and buyer tour. So just to start off, I'm going to select seller for this one. And then bottom right, continue. Okay, and then it's going to give you some template options. Okay, so there is the default seller, the company listing presentation, and a marketing proposal, which is specific to your marketing plan of action. So that's something that's new. I want you to be aware that it's there. We're not going to get too deep into that, but it does exist. And if you go next to each one, it will tell you how many pages and what pages, okay? So you can see the default seller presentation has 13 pages, and here's what they are, all right? If you were going to the company listing presentation, that's basically every page that has to do with listings. So if you click on that, you're gonna see there's 65 pages. That might be a little bit much, right, for our clients to want to go through. So you can do this one of two ways. You can either start out with the default seller, which is only 13 pages. And then if it's missing anything, you can add individual pages, which I'll show you how to do. The other option is what most of us did, I think, in Toolkit, where we started with the huge presentation of 65 pages and then went through page by page and whittled it down and took out the ones we didn't feel like we wanted to include. So, you know, whatever your style is, you can do it either way. For today's purposes, just time management, I'm going to start with the one that's 13 pages. So for the template, I'm going to pick the default seller. And then again, bottom right, I'm going to hit continue. Okay, so now you have to name it. So it says prepared for, right? So this would be whatever the name of your clients are or their property address. And then it's telling you which primary MLS it's pulling from. If you are someone who is a member of multiple listing systems, you can enter them all in your ACE dashboard, and then you would have access to them here. So as you can see, I clicked it and there's a drop down. For me, I'm only a member of Bright, so that's the only one it's showing me. If you were a member of one of the other ones, it would give you the option here to switch back and forth and tell it which one you want to be pulling this information from. So we're going to stick with Bright for today. And then bottom right, I'm going to hit create. Okay, so we are now actually into the presentation where we're going to be creating. And as you can see, there's this gray kind of bar up here that tells you really where you are and what's going on. It gives you kind of a roadmap, right? So right now it's highlighted in blue. You can see we're on the subject property page. So this is where we're going to be putting in the information for the subject property. Then we'll get into our search for comparable listings. Then we'll be able to select or edit those listings. Then we'll create our estimate, and then we'll review all the pages. So if you kind of get lost and you're not sure where you are or what you're doing, this up here will kind of tell you where you're at in the process, okay? So in order to pull a property in here as the subject property, you have options. So if it was already listed in the MLS before, and you can find that MLS number, you can actually just put that in right here and copy the data from the MLS. If it has not been listed before, it's going to take you a little bit longer, and you're going to have to fill out as much of this information as you can manually. So you would put in the exact location, if there's any subdivision, if it's a senior community, if you know the school district. Then it's going to ask you the subject property information. So what type of property is it? Is it a single family, bedrooms, bathrooms, square feet, if you know it? Taxes, you can usually look up through public records. You can put that in. And then it asks you, you know, what kind of special features. So you can fill this in if you want, which will help when you're searching for comps. And then remarks, so if you're pulling from the MLS, this will pull in basically the copy part of the MLS. So it's up to you if you want to write anything in here for yourself or your clients to see. All right, and then if it was something that's was listed before, again, it would also pull in the previous pricing and sale information. So I am going to just try to pick a property from the MLS that we can use just to keep things moving quickly here. So I'll pull up a rental listing I have right now. Okay, so all I'm going to do is go in, find the listing for the one that I want, and then I'm going to look for the MLS ID number, which is right here. So I'm just going to copy and paste this, come back over to Moxi, put it here, hit copy. Okay, so as you can see, because I had a valid MLS number, it just pulled in all of the data for me. It pulled my picture in over here. You can change it if you want to. There has some community information. It puts it in the bedrooms, the bathrooms, the square feet, anything that was in the MLS as far as features. You can see it does let me know that there is a full basement, that there is central air. that it is gas heat. So all of those things that you might want to use in order to look at comps would be there. All right, so yes, this is a rental. I'm aware. I just grabbed it as something quick and easy to use. So once we have completed all of this part, you have two options. You can hit all the way down at the bottom in the right-hand side. There is a continue button, or all the way at the top. You could literally just toggle over to the search section once you have this complete. Okay, so either way. So we're going to continue. And now it's telling me that we're in the search option. There are lots of different ways that you can search trying to find properties that you want to use as comps, okay? So over here on the map, you can look up by school district. You can just drop a pin and pull out a radius from the subject property, which it shows me with a star right here. Or you can draw a random shape on the map. So that's super useful if you're in a very specific neighborhood that maybe is close to a town line. So you don't want to do the radius and then have to get rid of all those other ones that are outside the exact neighborhood. You could just zoom in on the map here. It functions just like Google Maps. So at the bottom, you could zoom in to the specific neighborhood, draw around it, and then pull in only those homes. Other thing you can do is right now up here at the top in the left-hand corner, you can see we are looking by location, right? Which is why we have this map. The other thing you can do is if you had already happened to run a search in the MLS directly to look for comps and you've come up with the ones that you know you want to use, you could switch this toggle to MLS number, and then you could just list all of those MLS numbers here separated by commas and pull them all in directly. Okay, so however you choose to do it. For now, I'm going to go back to location. I'm going to choose radius search. So I click on it. I'm going to position my mouse right over that property, and then I'm going to pull out a radius search. So I'm going to say, you know, here's where I want to look. Okay. And then I'm going to click at the top, run search. Service issue, possible long-running query. Try adjusting your search parameters or resetting filters. Well, I don't have any filters set, so. All right, so what I did, in case you guys missed it, I forget I should narrate for you, is in the upper right-hand corner next to your search bar, right? You can choose to dictate by price. You can choose to dictate by how many beds and baths that would match your subject property. And if you are looking for additional filters that you want to select, you could do so by clicking filters, and then you'll see you'll get some other options. So that's what I'm going to do to try and narrow down this search. So I'm going to go into bed and bath. And I know I want it to be at least 2 bedrooms. I want it to be no more than 3. And this one only has 1 bathroom. So I'm going to do 1 to 2 bathrooms. And then I'm going to click right below that where it says apply. Still not getting anything. Filters, let's see. I'm going to take off and I'm going to do just single family. And right now under listing status on the left, it's showing me it's looking for actives, it's looking for solds, and then it's looking for all of these other things as well. Generally in a CMA, you don't need all of this, right? You might want to look at it just to see, but you probably aren't going to need all of it. So I'm going to take some of this off here. So really, I just want to be concentrating on solds within the last 6 months. Here, and you can change that if you want it to be further back. And I'm going to concentrate on pending, okay? I don't want short sales or bank owns for this one. I don't need to do any of these other features, but they do exist here, as you can see. So if you want it to be even more specific, you can be by type of home or some different features here, like if it's a senior community or if you want to make sure it has a garage, that kind of thing. And once I have my filters set the way that I want, I'm going to hit apply. So I might have messed myself up because I used a rental. So let's see if I do this, if that helps me out here. All right, well, this is interesting here. Radius, pull that out, run search. I wonder if there's just a connection issue right now, because we got nothing. I'm gonna reset the filters. They're reset, still nothing. All right, well, let's try something else. I'm going to, at this point, just to keep things moving, hop back over here into the MLS and run a quick search. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Sometimes it does get glitchy if the MLS is kind of overwhelmed. It will have a struggle talking to the MLS to pull that in. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do a quick search in Runnymede for actives and pending is what I'm looking for. I want 2 bedrooms and I got 5 matches. So I'm just gonna stop right there and get my results. Okay, so here, oh, did I do solds? Criteria. Active, closed. That's what I want. There we go. All right, 11 matches. All right. So now, as you can see, I have a bunch that have closed that are similar. They're all single detached like mine is. They're all 2 bedrooms, 1 bathrooms like mine is. So I'm just gonna come in here. I'm gonna click on some of these MLS numbers. I'm gonna copy them, come back over to Moxi, going to switch from location to MLS number and start popping these in here. Sometimes you'll get that extra space there and you just want to make sure you get rid of that or it's not going to work. All right, so that'll get me enough to get started. And as you guys can see, I really didn't look into those at all to see if they were actual comps, just because I'm trying to keep things moving. But if you are getting hung up on a location search and it's not working for whatever reason, I did just want you to see that you can then just do the search directly in the MLS, find the ones you want to use, and then just pop the MLS numbers in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do it that way. Maybe. All right, well, you know, nothing like technology when you're trying to teach a tech class. All right, new idea. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to my Moxi dashboard and I'm just gonna pull up one that I had already done. Because I was able to show you how you should be able to search and it should work. You're not really missing anything else from there. It's very self-explanatory. So I'll go in and just edit one of these so that you can see what I'm talking about. So let's see, here's one we did for Jerry Monty. So I'm going to click, as you can see, there's a little pencil next to all of these. So if you want to save one and then come back in later and make some changes, all you have to do is click this little pencil and it will physically take you into the report. As you can see, we're right back where I was when I was trying to do the one from scratch, right? So I'm right back at the beginning on subject property. I already did the search, so you can see here that I got my listings. Okay, so here's all the listings. So this is what it would look like if I was able to successfully run that search, is it would come up with all of the options that are a match. And sometimes you get multiple pages depending on what your filters are set like. So once I have my listings come up, I'm able to get a quick preview of them. It gives you a summary over here on the right, or I can get the basic information on each one of them. It tells me how many beds, how many baths, square feet, tells me when it was last sold, how much for, okay? And you basically just want to go through and you would pick whichever one of these you want to use, okay? So that's the kind of the one piece you guys didn't get to see, but it would look just like this, exactly the same, and you would just click on each one that you wanted to use. So if I wanted to use this one, I would click right here. Instead of this popping up, you would get like a little green check mark saying, yes, you've selected that one to use. If after you've made your selections, you realize there is one that maybe isn't a good match that you want to be able to get rid of, you can see over here on the right, you'll have this little red X situation. So you can just click any of these off that you don't want to use, okay? So once I have made the selections of the comps that I want, I also have the option to add more if I feel like I didn't get enough the first time around. But once I have them all selected, I'm going to come down here again, bottom right always is your continue button. And then up top here, it's showing me now we're on the page where we're going to be creating our estimate. So it will start out by giving you the pricing statistics, okay? So price based on just the average sales price would be this. It also gives you a different price based on square footage. So it averages out the price per square feet. It takes in the square footage of your subject property, does the multiplication, and then tells you that would be the price based on price per square foot. Gives you the summary down here again, okay? Low, average, and high sales price, bedrooms and bathrooms, square feet, price it sold at, and then you'll always see it highlighted in a star next to the one that is your subject property. Here on the right under estimate pricing, okay, this will look slightly different when you're seeing it for the first time. What it's actually going to give you is this number over here, all right? And then this button, instead of saying adjust range, will say add range. So if you don't want just this specific number here, or if you don't want just one number, because you can edit that number as well. But if you don't want just one number and you want to create a range, you would just click, create range. It's telling me the estimated market value is 235. So now I can calculate my range one of two ways. I can literally just write in whatever I want here, or I can calculate it based on a certain percentage above and below what this estimated value is. So in this case, you can see that's what I've done. I wanted a 4% range around this 235. So that's how I got this, okay? So you would set this however you want it and hit apply. And that way now your clients are going to be seeing a range as opposed to just a singular number, which I think most of us generally like to use, especially if we haven't really seen too much of the interior yet. We still want to walk in with some sort of pricing guide in mind, but we're not really going to settle on an exact figure until we've been able to really tour the property. So especially if you're in that situation, you can create this range here so that you're walking in with something and you don't get ambushed, because that's the first thing they always ask, even if it's an initial appointment, right? Is how much do you think? So you can run this first, have a range in mind, and then once you've seen the property, you can kind of drill back down to a more specific price point. It also gives you a remarks section, which I think is really important. So if you do have a specific price in mind or a specific range in mind, you probably want to put an explanation here as to why that is your thinking. So you could say things like, your home has a much more updated kitchen than most of these comps. Therefore, I have pushed up, the proposed listing price by $10,000 or whatever the case might be. Could be the opposite. You could say, your home is not as updated as some of these other homes. Therefore, even though the estimated price is $253, I think in order to be competitive, we should really come in at $245. Whatever the case might be, this gives you the opportunity to really explain to your clients and put in writing what your thinking is for that price. Okay, once you have your pricing set how you want, again, here's the continue button, or at the top, you would just click to the next thing, which says pages. Okay, so when you're on pages here, what you are seeing is this menu on the left is each page that is a part of this report currently. All right, so you can't really come over here and scroll. It's only going to show you one page at a time. So if you want to be able to see the different pages, you would come to the left-hand menu and just click down each one, right? So you can see this is the property summary page and what it looks like. It gives them a map, and then each one of these up here is a comp. And if they're using the web version, they could click any one of these up here and get the specific information about that comp. Gives us the listing overview page, which same thing, they could click on any one of these and it would pull up the information. Gives them the side-by-side comparison. A lot of us are used to that being called like the 4UP report, right? You guys remember that from Toolkit, so that's there. Status comparisons, it just breaks it down. So if you were using pendings and also wanted to show them actives, it would break it down by category. So it would show them all the solds together, then all the pending together, and then all the actives together, or whatever order you want it to be. It includes a seller checklist. Okay, so a lot of you will recognize this. They're basically the same exact pages that were in Toolkit previously. There is a recommendations page. Okay, so this is something that you would generally like print out and bring with you and then take notes and say, here's where I think we can make some improvements to your property to help it sell. There's a key player page that explains that the seller themselves are still a member of this team and they have to do their job in order for you to do theirs. Gives you the listing averages, okay? Days on market, pricing, etc. The price versus days on market graph, which I think is usually pretty compelling because you can explain to people, you know, your inclination might be to list high and see how much you can get, but the longer you're listed, the less price you're statistically going to get, even if you start high. So that's a good chart to have. Gives you a price versus size chart. Gives you the estimate comparison, okay? This is something that's new that I love. So really what this is should be called the Zestimate Comparison. We all cringe when we hear that word. So one of the biggest things we run into is people always look up their house on Zillow, get the Zestimate and think, oh, that's what my house is worth. So this tool actually compiles all of the information on those sold comps that you have selected, and it tells you where they fell. So did it sell more for the Zestimate? Did it sell for less than the Zestimate? And then it gives you up here, you can see that the average Zestimate for these properties was actually 2% under what they should have been listed for, or what they sold for, if that makes sense. The Zestimate was actually lower than what they were able to get in this case. This is a pretty close number. Sometimes this comes back crazy. We've all seen nutty estimates before. So sometimes this will come back with like a 20% difference. So that's something that's new. It didn't exist in Toolkit, and it's a great piece to be able to discuss with people who are bringing up the Zestimate as an issue for you, okay? Next one under that is the pricing analysis. So this is where we entered some of that basic information. It's just giving you the stats again of the average price and then the average square foot calculation price, okay? And then up here in the photo is that number range that we ourselves chose to create. Okay, so it always says approximate market value for you. There's also a net proceeds sheet if you choose to include that. Then there's your agent profile sheet, okay? And this is pulling directly out of your ACE profile. So if there's anything in here that is not accurate, you would actually have to go all the way back out to your ACE dashboard and into your profile to then make any changes that you need. So you want to make sure, obviously, the office number has to be there. You want your mobile number to be there. fax, email, all that good stuff. Okay. Now, as you can see, when I hover over any of these pages, I have options. I can edit the page right from here. I can remove the page, or I can, view it as a PDF separately out of there. But mostly what you're going to be doing is probably saying, okay, you know what? I don't need to include the seller checklist in their version of the presentation because that's something I'm just going to print out to bring. So I want to remove that, and it would take it off. Okay. You also have the option of adding a page, which you can see here at the very top, and there is an entire library of pages created for you. So you can click Add Page, and then it gives you the option you can add from the already existing library, or you can create one from scratch if you choose to do that. So I'm going to hit Add from Library. Okay, and then it's going to basically break it down over here on what type of pages are you looking for. So it gives you report pages. These are their pages that already exist in the report. Okay, has partner pages, which, these are from third-party companies, basically, SidebySide, if you want to include that. If you had created any custom pages, right, they would show up here. And then brokerage pages is probably where you're going to want to look. That's every single page that did previously exist in Toolkit, plus a couple new ones. So you can click here, and then it's further broken down by folder. Okay, so if you were looking for a page that had to do with marketing this listing, I would look for the folder that says marketing. I would open it up, and then it's going to show me each individual page that has to do with marketing. So if you want to include something about how buyers in this day and age are finding homes on the internet, right? If I want to see it, I come to the three little dots, and you can hit print portrait, and it's not going to print it, but it's going to pull it up so you can see it. But if you know that's the one, you would just click the add button. Okay, and now it's going to be added to my actual report. And I would just come back out here to pages at the top, come down, and somewhere in here, I forget what I even called, here, right here, where home buyers are looking, right? This is the one I added. So I can now click on that. That's what it looks like. If I want it in a different place, if I want it further down, I literally just drag it and I say I want it, here, and it would change the order for me. Okay. Last thing you guys need to know is once you have your report set the way that you want, you do have the option right here to save it as a template. So you would then name your own template, and the next time you start a report from scratch, that would show up as a template option rather than having to restart from the very beginning and find the other pages you want to add back in. So you can definitely save it as a template. Then up here on the right are the different options about the report itself, okay? So right here in this little box, it's showing you that what we're looking at right now is the web view. And that's why when I was on some of these pages, like the location map, it's the web view, which means I can click on any one of these things and it's live, right? And it will pull that up for me and I can get all of the information. However, you can change this view to print view, okay? And now it's just a printed map, right? None of this is really clickable in the print view, if that makes sense. So you can choose to look at it from both options to see the differences for each page. I would say right now, a lot of us are probably using the web view. We're doing remote listing presentations, or we don't want to be in the house as long as we normally would be. We can send it to them ahead of time via email, which is this option right here, right, where it says send. You can do both still, where you can show up with a printed version, and then while you're there, I will have emailed this to myself, let's say, right? So I would click send, I would send it to myself. And if you do send, it tells you, are you sending a PDF print version or are you sending a presentation, meaning the live web presentation? And yes, that's the one you want to do. So I would send it to myself, let's say, so that I have it ready at my fingertips. And then when I show up at the actual listing presentation, I can not only hand them their printed copy to go through, but right on the fly right there, I can say, you know what, give me 2 seconds. I'm also going to email you the live version of the presentation because I want you guys to have access to it. As long as you're connected to the internet, it will actually update itself. So if any information in the MLS changes, it will make those changes into the report automatically as well. For instance, if you have something in your report that's a pending property and then it closes, it will make that adjustment in the report. All right. So you can utilize both of these. If you were doing something like this via Zoom, right? So let's say you have a truly remote listing presentation where you're not even physically going to the house, you're just having a Zoom presentation. You can right from here, click the view button and say, I want to view the web version, and it's going to open it up for you. So you could just share your screen in Zoom with your potential clients, okay? And then open it up and just show them right here. This is what it looks like. I will email you guys the link to this report when we're done with our presentation so you have it, but I just want to take you through, explain what everything is, and there you go. You're now doing a presentation live via Zoom using this. And they can say, hey, hold on, can you show me more about that comp? And you can click on it, show it to them, explain why you used it as a comp, you know, what have you. So Moxi makes it really easy to keep that live presentation. It keeps it up to date, as I mentioned, and you can use it again by sending it to the client and then going to the home, by showing up there first and then saying, hey, let me show you this really cool thing that we have now, this live presentation that you will have the link to, or you can use the view option to present it during Google Hangouts, Zoom meeting, whatever, Facebook chat, you know, whatever you guys are using to stay in contact with your clients. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick pause here and I'm going to unmute all of you because I just want to know if anybody has any questions about that specific portion of the listing presentation. So if you guys can unmute yourselves and let me know.
I'm good.
Okay, Barb, any questions about that so far?
No, I think I'm pretty good.
Awesome. All right.
Sure, I'll have 100 when I do it myself.
I'm sorry, what?
I said I'm sure I'll have a ton of them when I sit down and do it all by myself.
That's okay. That's what I'm here for. All right, so in the interest of time, I'm just going to jump right back in, and I am going to give you guys just a quick overview of the buyer presentation as well, because that's a really cool new tool that's pretty unique here to Moxi. So I'm going to just go back out. I'm back in Moxi. I'm going to go back out to my dashboard. Okay, and again, upper right-hand corner, I'm going to click Create New. This time, I'm going to select the Buyer Tour option right here, and then click Continue. Okay, once again, they give you the default buyer tour. You can click on pages. You can see it's basically only 9 pages, and you definitely don't want to make this too long because this is what they're looking at on the fly while you all are out driving around looking at properties. So you do want to keep this one pretty trim. So since I have not created my own template yet, I'm going to select that default buyer tour and hit Continue. Again, it asks you to name it Prepared For. All right, so you just put their names in here. And again, if you need to, you can change which MLS you're pulling from. The other thing unique to this is this setting right here. And it says allow notes and ratings. I highly suggest you turn this on, or leave it on, I guess I should say, if that's the default. It allows your clients to, as you're going house to house, take notes and rate each house as you're going, and that information will be shared with you as well. That way you can kind of keep track. If you've shown them 5 or 6 homes, by the end of the day, they know already which one of those homes is going to be their favorite because they've been taking notes or giving it a star rating as you go. So make sure that's on and then click create. Okay, so as you can see, this is going to look very similar. This first page that it's giving you is, again, a really cool feature. So if you happen to know where your buyers are going to be coming from, right? So if they're coming from work and you know that address, if they're coming from their current house and you have that address, or you can ask them for it, you can actually put that address in here and it will tell them the drive time to each separate home that they're going to be seeing today. So they will be able to know ahead of time, you know, how early they need to be able to leave to meet you on time. So I would set the location. Yes, set. Okay. And then we're going to go either, again, same thing, lower right, right? Continue, or click search at the top. Does the same thing for you. All right, so unlike the CMA, chances are you're not going to be coming in here to actually try to find things to show your buyers. You totally can because it pulls directly from the MLS, but chances are you've already had a search running for them. They have selected some homes that they want to see, so we are most likely going to be switching this from location to use the MLS number option. Okay. So I'm going to come back into Bright MLS. I'm going to say, let's go to my clients' auto emails, and I'm going to be showing Alice Bennett here some homes. So I'm going to pull up her results of her search, and I'm going to just pick the ones that she wants to see out of, I mean, this is 13, obviously I'm not going to show her all 13, but whatever ones she's expressed interest in, I'm going to come back in here, find the MLS numbers, and do the same thing where I'm just going to copy it. I'm going to paste it in, separated by a comma, go to the next one. Oops, so we got that weird space. We're going to get rid of that. And then we'll do one more. Okay, and then I'm going to search. Oh, for Pete's sake, come on. Let's try continue, see what gets me. Nothing. All right. So I'm not sure what's going on today with this not wanting to talk to the MLS or being super slow, but you guys should have the idea. I've showed you exactly how you would need to do it. You would get your list of listings right here. You would just put check marks on all the ones you want to include, hit continue, and off you would be to pages. It's very quick and simple. So I'm just going to go back out and again show you one that we've already done so you can see what it looks like. So let's see, here's a buyer tour that I had done previously for class. So I'll just click edit on this one so you guys can see it. Okay, so I would have put in my starting address. I would have used search to find my listings by MLS number, as you can see here. I will have selected the listings I want to use, and here they are. Okay, so once you have selected the ones you want to use, it will put them both or however many in here. And again, you can drag and drop and change the order, right? So right here where it says change order at the top, if everybody sees this, I would click change order makes them movable, and then you can rearrange them in whatever order you want. You can see it live on the map so you know what you're doing. Chances are you have also been in showing time already to make these requests for appointments, and you can use that smart drive feature in showing time to show you what the appropriate order would be, and then you can make sure that this matches the order that you actually want to take them to, so it's not confusing for them. Okay, so get it in the right order and then click Save Order. All right. And once you have this set how you want it, we're going to keep going. So we're just going to go now to look at the pages that are included. And this one, again, you can see right here, we are automatically on the web view because this is going to be the most helpful. Obviously, you could print this out and hand it to them, but we all know when we print out MLS sheet for buyer clients and we take the time and we hand it to them, they fold it up, they put it in their pocket, they leave it in a house, they never look at it again. So kind of the whole idea behind this is that you're creating this live presentation you're going to email to them that they can open up on their smartphone and use while you're walking through. Okay, so pages over here on the left again, what's included is the cover page, okay? The location map, which is going to show them all of the different places you're seeing, where they are on the map, and in what order you're going to be going to them. We'll give them the listing overview of each one. And again, they can just click on each one of these easily. And you can see right here, right? They can rate it right here using the stars, or they can add a review, which is kind of that notes thing that we were talking about, right? So they would be able to click on this, take notes on each property, give it a star rating, and then, you know, you can discuss at the end what was their most favorites and why. Next is the side-by-side comparison, similar to the CMA. Listing averages, again, what's the average days on market, average price per square foot, etc. Same graph you saw before, price versus days on market, price versus size, and your profile page, okay? So again, I would suggest keeping this one, you know, pretty short and sweet. You don't want to add a whole ton of pages in here because they're going to have to, you know, flip through it all on their phone, page by page. But once you have this created the way that you want, you would just use the send option up here. Okay, it looks like a little envelope. Do send. You email, again, not PDF. Leave it on send presentation because you want them to have the live copy. If you're showing multiple people, you can put multiple people in here, separated by a comma. Subjects would be, you know, buyer tour, and then whatever the date is that you're going, you can write them a little message. You can copy yourself, which I suggest you do so that you can look at it right along with them as you go. You click send, and then you're good to go. You show up at the first property, make sure they've got it pulled up on their phone, help them if they don't, and show them the neat features on how to rate and how to take notes, and then off you go. Okay, so that's kind of something that's pretty new, super helpful, I think, especially right now when we're social distancing. We don't want to be carrying around pages of information and all that stuff. Now it's just located in your phone and in their phone. You can compare and contrast everything together. It's a great little tool, and I've had tons of agents, you know, come back to me after taking the class and using it, and they've gotten some really great feedback from their clients. This is something special that you can do for them that's potentially really going to set you apart from all of the other agents out there showing up, you know, with an MLS page. All right, so I'm going to stop share. I'm going to come back. You guys can unmute yourselves and let me know if you have any questions. Maybe I'll unmute you. All right, Barb, Nancy, you guys are muted. Do you have any questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you. You did a great job.
Oh, good. Sorry it was quick and dirty. Not sure why the search option wasn't working, but it's normally there. Last thing I want to show you guys, like I always do, is just where you can find more follow-up training for this subject, okay? So turn my screen back on. As always, I'm going to go back into my ACE dashboard. Okay, first tab, education tab. I'm going to open that up. I'm going to come across here till I get to the training library folder. Open that up. That'll put me right here to help documents and videos, which is this little tab right here. And then here I am with everything searchable by alphabetical order. So I would come down to M. I would see Moxi present right here. And I can see that I can either look at the help documents or I can watch some help videos, okay? So both of these will have it broken down by individual subjects, so you don't have to watch some crazy, hour-long webinar. You can actually just come in and be like, okay, I forgot how to start out creating a buyer tour. Here's a 3-minute video to show me that. Or I wanted to learn more about how to use the school search option, right? So it will explain just that specific part right there. So just be aware with Moxi Presents, there are multiple pages of videos. So once you come down to the bottom, it tells you you're only on page 1 of 3. So if you're trying to find a video on something and you can't, chances are, just go to the next page, etc. Okay. So like I said, there's a lot more nitty-gritty details about this that I didn't have time to get into today, but you should be able to find that information easily in here right through ACE.
Corey, will this presentation be on there as well?
It will not be located there because this is just like the personal classes I do for you guys as the tech trainer. It's not like the official, training released by the company. But once it is done, when I stop recording, it takes a while to actually compile the video, and then I will email the entire office with a link that you can use to watch my class that we just did at any time.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else have any other questions before we get going? Okay, I'm going to go with silence equals no. So once again, guys, thank you so much for taking the time and coming. I hope this is helpful. Go in, play with it, take a look. You can create your own mock presentations and just archive them when you're done so they're not in there. But this is a great tool, so I want you guys to be familiar with it, okay?
Thanks, Corey.
You're welcome, guys. Have a great afternoon.
I'm going to stay on for a minute, Corey, because I have that question for you.
Yep, I'm just going to stop the recording.